Dear friends, welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be diving into another fantastic but a bit challenging machine on the Vulnhub, which is Shuriken 1. The link will be put in the description section below so that you can download and play on your own. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up. It really helps the channel grow. Now let's get started. I'm going to take this video to showcase some useful and important techniques. For example, when the JavaScript code is obfuscated, so how to beautify such a code for better understanding, and how to use John the Ripper to crack hash, and also when you use some kinds of binaries to elevate privilege or lateral movement, you possibly encounter some problems, how to handle it. Okay, so now let's get started. We can head over to Kali Linux to begin with. First of all, we need to discover the IP address of the target machine. The utility I'd like to use, as always, would be netdiscover. So, as you can see over here, the IP address of the target machine could be recognized as 242. We can note down such information to our notebook, so then we can, we can check this information afterwards if necessary. Okay, so now what shall we do next? We need to perform port and surface scanning with a map. To save time of this video, I've already completed before, so now we can get out its result. As you can see over here, I took the options like scene scan, the default script scan, the version scan, and full range port scan. The last option for all is ON to output the result into this file, although its IP address has been changed as I re-imported the target machine into the virtual box. From the Nmap scanning results, we can tell that the target machine has only one open port, 80, and it's running HTTP service and also the version information Apache 2. Nothing very excited, but it's very clear what we should do next. We need to emulate this web application both manually and automatically. Let's open up the browser to perform manual emulation first. We can put the IP address of the target machine into the address bar of the browser. And now the browser is trying to load up this site and is collecting to internet to download some kinds of bootstrapped code. Okay, it's done. A beautiful site, and on the top you can see there is link to sign in. Okay, we can go back to the home page. There is a form to subscribe, sorry. And also we can check its source code. Sometimes we can get very important information back from the target machine. And here we can find two JavaScript links. All files. Why they caught my attention? Because they are using some special name, not like like a jQuery, some kinds of that we cannot get very much from that common JavaScript files. But this one, because their name are customized or their name are defined by the developer. So now we can copy and paste. Okay, paste onto our notebook. So now we are in enumeration stage. Let's go back to or switch to this tab. So here we can use admin and admin to log in. But we got error, invalid username and password. It looks like this application was developed badly, not very pretty. So, and also we can try to use the login. Sorry, so I cannot go back. Interesting. Interesting. So I think this request is submitted by get method, which is not a good practice as well. Okay, press enter, and later I'm going to use login bypass technique to, okay, so it's loading. And admin or 1 equals 1 and hyphen space password or anything. Even the password is not masked. Okay, login. So we cannot do very much against this user login form. Let's go back to the home page. So here, subscribe. Okay, next I'd like to check whether we have access to its robots file. Not found. Next, let's launch Nicto to perform automatic enumeration. I always use Nicto when I try to enumerate a web application, because besides like common files or directories, sometimes if the web software is vulnerable, the Nicto can give us such information as well. So login page, secret, interesting. We can have a look at this directory, and we got another file. We can download this image to our Kali Linux. We can replace. Now we can use Exif2 to analyze this picture. This Exif2 will retrieve all metadata of this file. Sometimes, we can get some interesting information from the metadata of the image, but not this case. So now, what can we do next? Let's launch the Gobuster to perform, Buster directory. Enumeration, and always use this with the list extension option. Of course, you can have multiple options to perform directory enumeration. Personally, I prefer a Gobuster, which is coded in Go programming language, and the performance is great. But sometimes we need to try or need to combine different techniques to conduct directory enumeration. Okay? But I'm going to interrupt Gobuster here because we cannot get anything else. Okay? So far, nothing very interesting except these two JavaScript files. Now it's time to manually walk through these two files. Okay, so now let's go back to the source code of this page. We can open them in new tabs. Unfortunately, this code is obfuscated to some extent. It's not very hard to understand. And to know what's going on here, we need to beautify this code. We can copy and go to this online service to beautify it. Okay, so now we can beautify code. Now let's have a look at this code, and we can find this domain name. We can copy and put over here. Next, we can have a look at the second JavaScript code. We can copy, similarly, and we can use, maybe we need to remove this code, beautify, and if you scroll down, you can find another address. We can copy and paste over here. So here, from this, so up to now, we have already found the major domain name and subdomain name, and even we find this possible parameter which exists local file inclusion vulnerability. Okay. Next, I think we need to append the mapping between IP address and domain name to the host file. Okay, let's do it now. We can echo, and let me autocomplete this command and modify the IP address of the target machine. And also we can append another one. I think we can copy from here, and then sudo attack hosts. It's done. Now we need to access both domains, the main domain and the subdomain, by browser, and we can press enter. It's loading. I apparently, this application is the same as the ones when we use the IP address to access, right? So now we cannot do very much here. Next, I can access the broadcast, but we are required to be authenticated first. We can try to use admin and admin, the weak or default credentials to sign in, but failed. So how to do next? Now it's time to have a look at this or check this parameter. Just I mentioned earlier, possibly this parameter exists local file inclusion vulnerability. Let's copy, and I rather use command line. This would be quicker, okay, than the browser. Browser will try to look up many things. So we can use Q and paste it over here. We can try to retrieve the password file. It does work, fantastic. And now we can get the username of the target machine. However, from the Nmap scanning, we have already know that the target doesn't have SSH service running, so we cannot do very much. With this username now. And next, I'd like to check whether we can access Apache 2, the access log, because authentication log file, even we can access authentication log file, we cannot do anything. Now we can, because the SSH service is not running on the target machine. Okay, attack, not attack, var log and Apache 2 access log. Unfortunately, we didn't get back the log file. Okay, so how to do next? I think next we need to check to see whether we can retrieve this source code of the home page. Okay, so how to do? We can check to see the index PHP. Sometimes we need to use PHP filter to access such files. I mean the arbitrary files. Okay, very important technique. And although in this case this is not necessary, but again, this is another very important point you should remember. Sometimes we need to use this PHP filter to retrieve file, okay, or access the file. Even in this case, we can, for example, we can use this way to retrieve the password file, okay, as you can see. But I'm not going to decode it because we have already got back the content of password files, okay, already. And we have already got its username. So next, I'd like to check to see whether we can retrieve the source code of the index PHP. Sometimes we need to remove its extension. It depends. Anyway, as a pen tester, we need to try many possibilities, okay, until we can find proper one. What I'm doing? Oh, not. So the refiller index, the Q. Oh, why? What's going on here? So maybe we need to use the PHP filter index PHP. It's much better. Now we need to decode it. We can copy. You can use command line, but alternatively we can use subchef. I think this is another Swiss too. We can put or paste the data here, and then we select operation of base 64, and then we can get the source code. We just pay our attention to PHP section or PHP code. So here, although there is some kinds of filter in place, but just replace or filter the double dots. This is one technique for path traversal, okay? But here we do not need to use this one. We have already got back a password file. Okay, so now what can we do next? Just now we have already know that another application requires us to provide the username and password to go ahead. And usually, the basic authentication, HTTP basic authentication should be located in either HT access and or htpasswd. And this information can be known by accessing the Apache 2 configuration file. Okay, so now I'd like to use this way, or PHP filter, maybe not necessary. Now we can attack Apache. So Apache 2 configuration file, press enter. Now, we have already got back the configuration file. Also, you can use PHP filter if you want. Okay, here we can know, I think we can find the information related to authentication. Okay, access file name is this one. So now we can try to access the HT access, but not so lucky. We didn't get this file back. So just I mentioned, maybe we need to find the authentication data from this file instead. Okay, no problem. It does work, and we can copy this line and paste in here. And so I think this should be credentials for the second application. Okay, so but we need to crack it. We can copy and echo. We can save this hash value to hashes. Then we can use John the Ripper to crack it, because I've already done that before. So we can use show option to retrieve the cached password. Okay, we can copy and paste over here. Now we can use these credentials to log in. So HTTP, oh yeah, this one, we can refresh. So developers and sign in, not now. And I think this application is running some kinds of ClipBucket. We can upload information channels, and also on the top we can see there is a login button. But I think before we try to bypass the login, I think we need to know whether we can get the version of this CMS, and we can check in its source code. Yeah, here we can get its version. So now we can copy this comment and paste over here. Next, we can launch SearchSploit utility to see whether this version is vulnerable or not. We got back 2. Okay, fantastic. Now we can, why the 2? I think they're same. It doesn't matter. We can use M option to retrieve the this exploit instruction. I don't think this is code. This should be some kind of instruction exploiting this particular version. Okay, now we can take a look at this textual file. And actually, you know, this POC, this POC shows us 3 possible exploits or vulnerability: unauthenticated OS command injection, arbitrary file upload, and also blind SQL injection. In this video, I'm going to use the second way, and we can use the command directly. We can copy and paste over here, and to make it to be in the same line. And so this should be our malicious file, like PHP reverse shell file, and shell. You can use any name, but you know, this application requires HTTP Basic Authentication. To utilize or to exploit this vulnerability, we need to get access first. So we need to use U option, and we can copy and the column followed by its password. Okay, and host, this should be our domain name. We can copy from the address bar of the browser. Okay, so now we can simply copy the whole line and go to the command line. I need to check whether the shell file is available. Yes, it's ready. You can get it from many sources, including Pentest Monkey website. So we can run this command. We get the result of yes or success, and the file name and the file directory. But I don't think I think this is a relative path. So to get its exact location or absolute path, or maybe its exact address, we need to conduct a directory enumeration. So how to use a Gobuster to perform directory enumeration if the application requires basic authentication? You can use the H option to know how to specify in this situation the username, and also we can use uppercase P to specify the password. Okay, so now I'm going to run Gobuster broadcast. Let me autocomplete this command. Okay, I need to make double check. Press enter. All right, Gobuster has already discovered many directories, but this one caught my attention because what I'm looking for is the location where our uploaded file should be. So I think the name implies this is the location what we are looking for. So now we can access this directory, press enter, and go to photos, this directory, but we need to set up the listener first on the Kali Linux, and this will wait for collection from the target machine. And now we can click, one more click, and this should be our uploaded PHP reverse shell file. Okay, let's click, and from the status on the top of the browser, we can see it's working. Fantastic. We have already got initial foothold on the target machine. Great. Now we can use Python to spawn an interactive shell. Python 2 is available. So now we can import a pty module spawn. Okay, so now also I'd like to export or define environment variable of a term. Then we can clear screen whenever to get bigger space on the window. So now we need to gather information because we want to make a lot of movement or privilege escalation. Let's go to home directory. Yeah, we already know that the target has one normal user server management, but at this moment, permission denied. That's clear. Next, we can run sudo. In most cases, the www data cannot run sudo, but sometimes it can because of some kinds of misconfiguration by the administrator. Here, I think we can use the npm to elevate privilege, not elevate, maybe privilege escalation. So how to do? We can go to the website of GTFOBins. So here, we can additionally arbitrary script names can be used in place of this one and triggered by name, blah, blah, blah. We just, execute commands one by one. We can copy, and this command is to create temporary directory with a random name. Okay, now we can run this command, and now we need to sudo. Of course, we need to use U option to specify the username, server management, and next we can copy. But you will see you will get an error. Okay, let's press enter. As you can see, a lot of error by running or after running this command. And here, the code, and we got the permission denied error. Very interesting and also very weird. Actually, we need to fix it to make it run properly. The problem lies in the permission settings of the directory. As you know, this directory is created or was created by www-data. So, other user cannot have access to the script, So how to fix? It's very easy to solve. I think we can go to the temp, not sudo, temp directory. We can remove existing one. And let's run these 3 commands one more time. We can copy. Okay. So now, as you see here, the temporary directory with random name has been created, and we want to change mode with uppercase R. This will recursively set the mode or permission to this directory for 777. Okay, so now for the purpose of penetration, I think you can understand. Now we can hit enter. We can copy. Okay, now I think other user like server management can have access to this directory or everything within this directory. So now we can clear, and then now we can run this command. And next we can run this one, sudo server management. Paste in here. I think it's working. Great. Beautiful, right? So now I can spawn interactive shell. So next, what can we do next? We need to, make furthermore enumeration to make a privilege escalation. But before that, we need to go to home directory to grab the user flag. Okay. Next, we can go to opt directory. Nothing here. var directory, backups directory. Nothing here. So next, I'd like to upload Nimpiers shell script, shell script to the target machine. I've already got this script ready. In order to upload this script to the target machine, how to do? We can set up, of course, there will be different approaches, but this one is the easiest. Okay, so now we can use the wget to upload IP address of the kernel Linux and the Nimpiers shell script. We got error, wget command not found. So I think as pen tester, we need to grasp techniques as many as possible. So next we can check to see whether q command is available. Yeah, it's there. So we can use q Nimpiers. Okay, it's done. Now, what can we do next? We need to run, or we need to make it executable. Okay. Now we can use this relative path to run it. When we try to make lateral movement or privilege escalation, in most cases, we need to take advantage of this script if the target machine has or is Linux machine, okay? Because it can enumerate the target machine from various parts, okay? Like SUID bit, like capabilities, like Cronjob, even can enumerate files which possibly contain sensitive information. I think it's done. Now we can scroll up to see whether we can find something. Oh, sorry, not this one. A lot of output. The table security. Scroll. Is your ID bit? Docker. Configuration file of Apache. MySQL. Usernames. Cronjob. We notice this one. And every 2 minutes, this script would be executed by root user. So now we can copy this path of this script. Next, we need to check to see whether current user has permission to manipulate, right? So we can use ls command with ALH options. Unfortunately, it doesn't. Okay, so now we can get out this script. And here, so where, oh, I think this script is for back or for archiving and what to backup. So this should be the source of the files, which would be backup, create, archive, file name. And here we can notice wildcard, one type of wildcard, asterisk, it means everything. And also there is another type of wildcard like question mark. So I think maybe there will be different ways to utilize or exploit this script, but I'm going to show you how to conduct tar wildcard injection. Okay, so how to do? And you can go to this link. Which link? Yeah, this link. Whenever I try to make wildcard injection with tar command, I will, get here. And there will be different approaches. But based on my practice, this way doesn't work. Without wasting your time, I'm not going to demonstrate this one. And I'm going to use this one. I think you know what this command is doing. Try to append or add current user, for example, like server management to the sudoers and no password. So now I think we can copy this line and we need to do some modification. Here should be modified to server management. Now we can copy and run it. No error. In Linux, no error means good. good thing, right? We can copy and then we can run the last command. In this case, we will not manually run tar command, and I think we need to wait about 2 minutes. Sorry, I made a mistake. We shouldn't do such things in the temp directory. As you know, just only those files in the documents directory will be archived. Okay, so this is the mistake you should pay attention to. Okay, so now I'd like to go to home directory and go to server management, go to documents. Now we can run this command one more time. Next, the second line or second command. Next, okay. So again, we need to wait about 2 minutes. So as you can see over here, after about 2 minutes, if we run sudo with option of L, -L, we can see now we can run all commands without password. So privileged escalation would be very easy. We just run sudo bash command. Now we have already become root user, and we can get the final flag without any problem. So I think that's pretty much it. I'd like to see you next. Have a good day, please. Bye.